G'day YouTube, welcome back to Bonsai Works, my YouTube channel. I'm David. Today I want to talk about black pines and why I love black pines. Black pines, Japanese black pines, are one of my favourite species to deal with because I think they're quite easy. They're quite forgiving, and you pretty much, if you can get away with almost just working on the trees twice a year. Now, when it comes to styling, you can pretty much style them any time of year as well. But really, when you want to come to maintenance of a refined tree, a tree in refinement, a tree that's in a bonsai pot and just helping get better and better with refinement and more buds and more candles, etc., and you're really starting to build those pads out, and etc., then black pines are awesome. You pretty much work on them twice a year. In December, well, for us in summer, you decandle the whole tree, and in winter you bud select it two buds. Very easy once you get the hang of it. In Australia, we do summers out December, so I do this in December. I decandle the whole tree. That is, cut off every single candle. You see all the candles all growing. Cut them all off. I've done videos in the past of that as well, so I'll do it again this season. But I cut them all off, and then in autumn, where we cut it, in autumn there's going to be 3, 4, 5. There's always multiple buds at the one spot, so you cut back to 2. So it's pretty easy if you at least follow that. The added complexity sometimes is you need to also needle pluck at the same time. But if you're a beginner, at least get that right. At least get the decandling and the bud selection process right. And once you get that right, everything else falls into place. So if you start to progress along that path of cut all the candles off in summer, needle pluck in, bud select in autumn, you're on the right track anyway, and your tree will be better and better. The needle plucking is just to balance the growth from the whole tree. So then you have the same amount of needles throughout the whole tree, which means the tree will give every single area the same amount of energy. So, and that should help with the size of the buds, etc. But yeah, as I said, if you can just follow the 2 simple descent in summer, decandle, autumn, bud select, you're on the right track. And you're pretty much guaranteed the result. It's pretty much guaranteed that where you cut it, if you cut it in December at the right time, in autumn you'll have all those buds to select from, and it just works every single time pretty much. Yeah, you got to feed them, etc. Nothing too hard, nothing too complex. You don't even have to feed. They're just that strong and sometimes growing. It's really good, but feeding's good in late winter start really, and then early spring keep going. The other thing with black pines is their bark. It's got a great bark. You'll see some of the other trees that are coming up after this tree. They're really nice flaky bark. You get this little guy you would have seen in my videos before. Coming on really well. You'll see all the candles. Some are a little bit longer than others, so this tree isn't as balanced as it should be just yet, but it's getting there. And it's definitely in refinement. Now I did repot this tree into this pot this year, which you would have seen the video on. But like you'll see some other trees that are coming up soon, a smaller tree of mine. But I can't remember the last time I repotted it. It could be about 5-10 years, I'm not even sure. But it doesn't need it. It really doesn't need a repot unless there's something drastically wrong with the soil, or you're going to change the pot. You want to change the pot it's in, pretty much. Other than that, I find black pines are very, very easy to work with. Easy to reduce the needle length, because you'll see that the young black pines, if you're growing a black pine from a stock plant or a seedling, they're quite long and leggy, and the needles are huge. That's normal. But when they start to get to the refinement stage, when you've got so many more buds, the tree can only give out so much energy. And it's got to give out energy to everything. So the more energy it gives out, the smaller the needles are, if you know what I mean. If it only had one bud, that's going to be huge needles. But if it's got like hundreds and hundreds, the needles are all smaller and smaller, the buds are smaller and smaller. So that's how you reduce the size of the needles on black pine. So I treat my radiata pine the same way, and radiata pine have monstrous needles if they're young and juvenile. But once they get into the refinement stage and producing lots of buds, it gets smaller and smaller naturally. So just remember that's how you get the smaller needles as well, having much more buds on the tree, and that's how you get it. But so we'll see a few more trees coming up. But I hope you will enjoy this little session on black pines and why I love them. Now this little black pine He's one of my probably one of my first demonstrations I did back in the bonsai club back probably the very early 2000s. Now it was a very, very young tree. Pretty much had like, at the end of my demonstration, pretty much had like 5 branches left. It wasn't very many, but I've slowly built it up over time. Now I haven't, probably in the last 5 years, it's really come along more as I spent more time with it and got it really healthy and strong, and started to do the bud selecting and needle plucking. So now it's starting to look really cool. It's a nice small tree, very nice Japanese pot, really cool tree. Just continually getting it better and better. I really like this tree. It's a very small, nice, compact tree. See the compactness you start to get? Once you get more and more buds, it really starts to fill out nicely. So I'll go and candle print all those in summer in about a month's time, and then let them all shoot, and then bud select. And then, so that one that I cut there would have 2 next year. And then I cut those off, and then I'll have 4 the following year. So you slowly, I think that's the thing I love about black pines. You actually see the results by the multiplication factor. It just multiplies and multiplies and multiplies, and you're pretty much guaranteed that it's going to do that. Pretty much, 95% guarantee it's going to do that, which I love it. I love it. I love that, seeing that. I mean, I love pines in general, but these black pines just respond so well in our climate. White pines are phenomenal if you can find them. The parviflora, if you can find that, and good quality one with a very, very good graft that you can't see, that's a great tree. But you got to find a decent sized one, and there's not many around. You're pretty much starting from scratch if you're going to try and do white pines and having a good graft, and then you got to treat white pines totally different to black. So in this case, that's another reason I love them. He's like very easy to grow, very hardy, very strong. Don't hardly ever repot. Do the same things over and over again to them, and they just develop and develop and develop. So beautiful. All right, let's try another tree. All right, another black pine you would have seen many times in my videos and how I've built it up over time. I like showing you the trees that I've worked on and how they continue to develop. You can start to see huge amount of buds, huge, it's great. Candles, lots of candles. The tree's doing really well. It's been repotted. You would have seen me repot this tree in the winter, a few months ago pretty much. And it's just looking great. It's really shooting out everywhere. It's got some really nice deadwood features up here, in here, so I've really got to work on that this year, really get them cleaned up. Because the structure of the tree is pretty much set. It looks really quite spectacular. Probably a bit hard to see in the sun, but it's really starting to form a really nice tree. Like, it's got a couple of nice main branches. I think it slipped off the thing. It's got a couple of nice big branches down here, starting to build up a nice little canopy apex in here. So, and it's just going to continually fill out, and it's going to look great. It's going to really frame. This bit's going to frame nicely. This deadwood and deadwood. It's just, I think it's going to be a super good tree, and a very unique, very twisted up and really cool and unique, and the way it flows that way, and the whole tree's going that way, and nice little story to tell. So a really nice tree. And again, the buds, the more candles we get, the more buds we'll have in the future. So, and we'll just keep responding. So yeah, and this one's got a really phenomenal bark as well. Really, really cool bark. Now I am not waiting for this bit to start to die back, and I probably can find there's starting to be a shari naturally developing in here. I don't want to do it prematurely. I want to naturally see what happens and dies back, and see where it actually ends up. Because I will put the shari in, although pines don't really tend to look the best with the shari, but this tree is kind of unique and kind of interesting, so it probably needs it. But there you go, another lovely black pine. Alright, and the last black pine I'll take you through is this one, which is just starting to look wonderful. Sorry, I'm a bit out of breath because I had to carry it over here, but it's looking really great this year. A bit hard to see in the sun, unfortunately. All the beautiful roots and the big, the bar is starting to form really massive here, really good. And the semi-cascade branch, the apex, really starting to put on some size as well. Enormous amount of candles all the way through the tree. I've restyled this tree last year and I did a video on it, and it's really I compacted the apex down, looking much nicer, more fuller. It's got all the clean layers, clean underneath, and you're starting to see all the pads starting to fill out. So this tree
It's just now a matter of, it's pretty much got the style, got the shape, got everything. Just needs to really fill out now. Really fill out with lots of candles and lots of buds everywhere, buds and foliage. You see they're quite small now, so it's been a really good process to get them quite small, which is really good, which is really what you want. Even the top isn't so huge anymore. It's actually quite a reasonable size. So it's about the balance of the tree. When you balance it all out, you should start to get even growth everywhere, and that's what I think's happened here, and it's looking really good. This tree, you can see, doesn't have gin, and that's what I want. It doesn't have. It did previously, but I've cut them off. I wanted a nice clean tree, no real gins, no real shari, anything like that. So there's a few little dead bits there, but I'll get rid of them eventually. There wasn't a big gin in here, but I didn't think it looked right, so take that off. Now it's a more cleaner pine, and quite substantial size. It's, I don't know if you can see me in the background over here. It's pretty decent sized tree. You know, it's nice size. You still can fit in the back of the car, which is great. So I can get it to shows, but probably a couple of years away from a show. You know, I really don't want to show it until it's quite spectacular and looks really good all over. So there you go. That's the final black pine I wanted to talk about. Why I love them so much. Very easy to grow. I find very easy to maintain. You work on them twice a year, and you get the results really quickly. I mean, it's like guaranteed results. You know, it's like if you candle prune in summer, you'll get the buds in autumn. You'll bud select it too, and it happens all over again. Repeat. Yeah, the needle plucking is quite tiresome, and you know, you got to get used to doing that. But don't stress about that just for now. If you're a beginner and you got a tree in refinement, so that you can only do this in refinement. When a tree's in a bonsai pot and starting to really develop the pads and so on, you do that technique. But if you're growing a seedling or younger stock for a bigger trunk, you pretty much don't touch it. You just don't touch it. You just let it grow, bend and twist it and all that kind of stuff to give shape, but don't cut off the candles and things like that. It's a very different process to establish trees that you're trying to ramify. So established trees, trying to build them up, this is what I love. These black pines, yeah, huge favourite, and the reasons why I love them. Okay guys, hope that video has been good and you enjoyed it. Stay tuned for more videos, and thanks for watching. See ya.